So what I have to do is I have to take off this yellow jumper wire that was put in. This isn't part of the loom. As you can see, the loom is all inside this covered wire there. And I'm looking for a blue and white wire to take it off whatever terminal it's on and put it on there. So there's our blue and white wire. This wire is live from the battery, and what I noticed was this wire on the other end that's coming up from here, the starter switch. So we have a blue and white wire going in and we have a red and white wire coming out. And that is meant to click onto this terminal here. You turn the key, power goes to there, electromagnet gets energized, and it pulls up a connection on a spring between these two, and the power then goes down into our starter. It gets earth through the body. That's how the starter turns. So if I'm not mistaken, because that blue and white wire is getting power all the time, and that means this is going to get power all the time, which isn't good. If I move that blue and white wire to there and take off this wire, turn the key, and I have my voltage meter set up. When I turn the key, I should see voltage coming through that. When I turn the key back to the off position, I shouldn't. So I'm going to swap them wires now and see what happens. So the gear lever is in neutral, so that's working our starter switch. I have the battery hitched up with the voltmeter. Now, if all is going according to plan, I've swapped my blue and white wire to where the yellow one was. If this works, I can remove the yellow one. So what I'm looking for now is to see battery voltage when I turn the key. So I'm going to try and place this phone somewhere where it can be seen, and I'm going to twist the key. Yeah, so that's working. I'm going to put the gear lever into higher gear, so I shouldn't see any voltage now when I twist. So I'm twisting now. No. Tiniest little bit, I wouldn't worry about that. Back into neutral where it should work again. That's good. It's a little bit lower than battery voltage because when I turn on the ignition, you can see that things are showing up a little bit, which is strange actually. Maybe it's a little bit of wear in that. I'm twiddling some of the connections here. You can see there's strange readings coming up there. Maybe this switch is a little bit worn. So twist for start and off. Strange showing 0.01, but it's very low, but don't think that's going to go affect now. Okay, so that seems to be a bit of a success so far. So I'm going to rewire it down to the solenoid now and take off that yellow wire. And what I might do then is take off this wire and isolate it because I don't want turning my engine over, and do the same thing, just hitch up the voltmeter to this wire and redo the test to make sure everything is working. That small amount of voltage shouldn't be enough to actually make this solenoid connect those two connections and cause the starter to start turning anyway. Now I have you set up on the battery tray, and I'm going to turn. It's hard enough to do all this with one hand, two hands even. So I'm going to turn on the ignition. It's on. Turn the key. So we're getting battery voltage down to this battery lead. And off, back to 0. On, up the battery voltage. Okay, and off the ignition. That is looking good. So I think that's fair to say that that is a success. So we can take off our battery lead again and move on to the next job. So my governor rod seal is finally on its way. The people that I ordered it from are telling me it's in, they're telling me it's not. The delivery is landed and then it's nowhere to be found. So I've managed to source a person that has a new one that they don't need. So what I'm going to do is I'm getting other parts off him. The best quality condenser points. I think they're new old stock Lucas. New spark plug leads that I'm going to make myself. They're single core copper, so one piece of copper wire. And there's going to be new old stock acorn rubbers. They slide up off there, so that'll be nice. And a condenser as well. So we really, and yeah, points. So we really should have the finest of ignition parts. Again, I'm back using this old coil because the one that I bought that was promised to be good quality isn't good quality. So I'm not sure I'm going to use this for the time being anyway. Mind you, it's going to be a while yet before I get it back running. But that's why I'm doing all of these small little jobs, because I'm waiting on those parts to come. But I'm very happy with that, because this is after tidying things up a lot. So now we're back down to a proper loom without any extra wires on it. And I might just take off that wire again, and actually I have some kind of this fabricy stuff there. I might just put a bit of that on it just to take the, I won't say the bad look, but just to make it blend in a bit more. So I might just do that now. So I put a bit of that protective kind of plastic covering around it, like the stuff in the back there. And I'm after putting a bit of heat shrink over it there as well, so that should be well and truly insulated against any rubbing or anything like that. So the next job now is to work on this key ignition. There was a spacer put on there because those threads are long. I wasn't too mad about it, so I'm going to try and pick out something a bit better. Another little job is just to replace this seat rubber. This looks all original. This is the deluxe seat. The non-deluxe seat would have been something similar to the Ferguson 20, a pan seat. So it's nice to be able to get these out. As soon as I saw a flathead screw type of a setup, I thought now there was a good chance that they weren't going to come out. But they're both perfect. So it does look like a fairly original seat. There's some corrosion on it, but I prefer to try and keep the original seat. You can see that them lads maybe were meant to line up with them holes there in some way, shape or form. And the original seat cover, which I would imagine is well and truly gone at this stage. Little wing nuts. I just put some washers behind them, rubber washers, just to, rather than scratch and paint. So yeah, I'm letting out some oil as well from the gearbox because there was too much in it, and I have this seal coming in the PTO selector, the lever, and that was actually a fairly bad leak, so I had to just take out this bolt and allow oil out till it stopped dripping, so because that whole cover is going to have to come off. I'm trying to think, is that something I could do now? Probably is. That's probably the next job I'm going to do, is take that off.